we should have spiritual love for each other. There should be a drishti of brother. So I must consider myself to be a brother soul. And there has to be this drishti that the one before me is a brother soul. And then there has to be this energy of spiritual love for each other. But the big question is, we have been in the experience of the non-spiritual kind of love for 63 births. And we have absolutely no sanskar of spiritual love. So we understand lust, we understand attachment, but we don't understand spiritual love. So the first thing is, what is spiritual love? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So first we have to have a template for that. And the reference point or the template for spiritual love is the love that Baba has for us. So how do we know what is spiritual love? So the only entity who is capable of spiritual love and who gives us the experience of what spiritual love is like is sweet Baba. And yesterday, there is a Kanya, and I was talking to her and I asked her, what do you like most about Baba? So she gave me a very beautiful answer. She said, I really like the way Baba talks to me. It is with so much love and respect. I have never heard anybody talk like this. And it was really very beautiful coming from her that Baba, the way Baba talks to us, the way Baba communicates with us, is so full of love and respect. And that is one aspect of spiritual love. And you see, Baba is somebody who knows our whole journey. And Baba knows that we have a lot of not so pure sanskars right now. But still, Baba maintains his words, his vision of love and respect for us. That is spiritual love. And let us understand different aspects of spiritual love. So, first aspect of spiritual love is complete acceptance and respect, despite, knowing what sanskar the other one has or what they are like. So Baba says that one must have complete acceptance and respect for every brother's soul. But only when we receive this kind of love from Baba. Now you see, Baba is the ocean of love, ever flowing and radiating that love to us. But we have to sit and receive it. Don't we have to do that? If we don't receive it, if we don't invest our time and thought in it, then our heart can't be full of that love from Baba. And this is why it is very important to sit in the company of the ocean of love. So when we sit in meditations, when we sit with Baba, when we sit in Baba's remembrance, then we sit in the experience of Baba's love. So obviously Baba is always giving us that love. Baba is ever flowing that love towards us. But do we receive it? Even in the Murli, you see Baba speak so sweetly and respectfully and lovingly to us. But do we allow that Murli to resonate in our minds even after the Murli is over? So, do we allow those words to, echo in our minds that Baba told me this, and Baba talked to me with so much love today? And this is how you receive love. And you see, I remember there was this one Mata, and she had a newborn, and whenever her child spoke something, or her child held her, or whatever the child did to her, she would keep remembering that all day and sharing it with others. She would say, my child called me Mama today, and she would try to speak exactly as the child spoke. And this is how we internalize human love. But you see, we don't do that same thing with Baba. And if we do, of course, then our hearts must be very full of love. So Baba says, just sit in silence and recall how Baba speaks to us, what Baba talked to me today, and the way he looks at me or the way he speaks to me. And when you start thinking about these things, then your heart starts absorbing the love that Baba is giving you. And Baba says that when you have this connection, this relationship with the ocean of love, only then you become loveful, and only then can you have spiritual love for everybody else. So the reference point for spiritual love is Baba, and our capacity to have spiritual love for brother souls depends on how deep our relationship with Baba is, and how much we are receiving that love from Baba. And you see, when Baba talks to us, he knows that we have so many sanskars, but still he talks to the pure, powerful self, the original self. And spiritual love means you talk and communicate with the soul, not with the sanskar. So when you have spiritual love, you don't talk to the sanskar of a person, you talk to the original identity of the person. And you have a lot of love for the pure, peaceful, loveful self that they are. So this is how your attitude or your words towards the other person would always be respectful and accepting. Yes, so this is first thing. Then second thing is, you have a deep sense of belonging. So if you want to think about it like the ABCD of love, then the A is acceptance, the B is belonging. So just like you see, Baba says, Mere bache. So, there is a sense of belonging, you're mine. And with a sense of belonging, there comes a sense of responsibility. And with that sense of responsibility, Baba takes the responsibility of encouraging us, uplifting us, or sharing his treasures with us. So Baba takes that responsibility for us. Similarly, we also take the responsibility of sharing our gifts, or sharing Baba's love, or sharing Baba's knowledge, or giving encouragement and uplifting brother souls. So we also take that responsibility. And there was once this brother who was telling me that why do you people have to take the responsibility of creating a better world or serving others? Yes, so one brother was telling me that why have you taken it on your shoulders to make the lives of other people better. So I told him that's our spiritual duty, because Baba does it for us. And had Baba not done it for us, where would we be today? Yes, just think about it. Baba takes that responsibility on his own. Baba, that's an aspect of his spiritual love, that Baba comes and Baba takes the responsibility of sharing his knowledge, his wisdom, sharing his enthusiasm with us, sharing his powers with us, or uplifting and encouraging us. That's the Baba never gives up on us. Does he give up on us? Never. Even when we give up on ourselves, he doesn't give up on us, because there is this deep sense of belonging in Baba, that these are my children. Similarly, when we have this belonging for every soul, that this is a brother soul, and one thing to note is, this shouldn't be that there is a sense of belonging for some and a sense of exclusion for others. No, there has to be a sense of belonging for every soul. Every soul means not even minus one. For every single soul, we have to have that sense of belonging, that it is my duty to share whatever Baba has given with these souls, with these brother souls, and it is my duty to encourage and uplift them and fill them with zeal and enthusiasm, create swaman in them, that they can do better than what they are doing today, and make them realize their spiritual powers. So Baba says this is also an aspect of spiritual love. And then the third thing is care. So, this care for every soul, where you care that, they do well, that they spiritually get uplifted. That sense of care is an aspect of spiritual love. And you see that Baba also cares for us. And this care is reflected in Baba asking us. Have you seen that in Avyakt Vani especially, you see that Baba asks, or are you all okay, and are you doing well, and all of these things. So this care, and also of course the care that is reflected in the effort that he makes for us. So that sense of care is the C in love. And then the most important aspect, the D of love, is detachment. Yes, so in spiritual love, there is nyara and pyara. So there is a lot of care, lot of sense of belonging, there is acceptance, there is respect, there is love, but there is also equal detachment. And just like you see that Baba is knowledgeful, and Baba knows that I care for these children, I make my full effort to uplift them, I encourage them, I teach them, but I also know that every soul has his own journey and destiny. And that is why Baba does everything and then becomes a detached observer. So Baba is fully involved and fully detached. Yes, does Baba get upset when we don't do the Purusharth? Does Baba feel sorrow when we don't do the Purusharth? Or does Baba, do you feel a sense of force in Baba? So have you seen that when there is no detachment, then once you ask somebody to do something, and then when they don't do it, there is a sense of forcefulness that comes, because you have become attached with your own investment. So if I have invested 2 hours in guiding somebody, and then they don't take that guidance, then the second time they come, there is a force in us that you have to do this. But do you feel that sense of force from Baba? No, Baba inspires, Baba teaches, Baba does everything for us, but Baba never feels sorrowful, Baba never feels disheartened, Baba never forces us. So, Baba inspires us in many words, but there is never a sense of force. And this comes with detachment. And Baba says that when you are spiritually full, then you are also knowledgeful, powerful. So you know when to stop, when to do, or when to withdraw, and you also know how much to do and when to regulate your own inner self in such a way that you are not disturbed by they taking your advice or your direction or rejecting it. So this is there. And you see, in my personal journey, I have felt this thing that when we have ego, we always feel that the only right kind of people that exist are the people who are like me. And anybody who is different from me is not right. So, this is how ego comes up. And I have felt that in an ego based world, you have two people that exist for you, two kinds. One kind is those who are like you, and another kind is those who are not like you. And you keep judging all those who are not like you, and you have a lot of love for those who are like you. But that's an ego based approach. And basically, you see, every soul is unique, and every soul is very different from another soul. And we have no right to label anybody as wrong or different or this or that. That the judgment that comes from it, that becomes a barrier to acceptance and respect. So when we become full with Baba's love, and when Baba's love melts all the ego in us, so you see that love is famous for transforming. It is said that love is the greatest power, and Baba's love, which is the most pure and powerful love that exists, it melts our ego. And when our ego melts, then we are able to see that every soul is different, and but every soul is important, and every soul is unique, and every soul has virtues. And you don't judge them on the basis of the differences that are there in you and them, but you have a lot of respect and love for the uniqueness that they bring to this world drama. And this can only happen when you have very good yoga with Baba. And only when you understand, when you have this balance of acceptance, care, belonging on one side and detachment on the other, can you move along. Because what happens is, whenever we invest in a body conscious, selfish world, so the body conscious world is characterized by selfishness, and we want something in return. So the selfish approach says that at least things should be reciprocated. So somebody should at least do what you're asking them to do. At least this much of return I should have. And when that doesn't happen, then what happens is there is a lot of expectation in you, and you start feeling bogged down with that expectation, and you start feeling sorrow and disheartenment. So it's very important for spiritual love to be sustainable, that it is balanced with detachment. And Baba says that the more yoga with you have with me, the more you are connected with the heart, with the ocean of love, you become loveful. And when you become loveful, then you also have spiritual love for everybody. So this is what Baba is asking us to have, brotherly drishti and spiritual love with every soul, which is a byproduct of having love with Baba. Because without the Father, the concept of brothers doesn't exist, does it? So, if you don't know the Father, do you know that you are brothers to each other? No. You cannot have the identity or the relationship of brotherhood in the absence of having a relationship with the Father. So, Baba says that when you have a deep relationship with me, then you have a brotherly spiritual love for each other. So, this is what, and then Baba also talks about ego today. And Baba says that ego makes you look at the weakness of others, ego makes you defame others, and the beautiful aspect of ego is ego doesn't make you see your own defects. Yes, so ego is like, ego, when you have ego, then all your weaknesses, your own shortcomings, your own, your own problems, your own, the qualities you lack in, they become your blind spot. You cannot see them, but you can see everybody else's defect. And you must have observed this phenomena in yourself. Ego makes you blind to your own defects and very open-eyed to other people's defects. And you start looking at other people's defects, you start thinking about them, you start, you start discussing it with others. And sometimes you also are so focused on other people's defects that you start defaming them. But Baba says all this is happening because you are not looking at your own defects. But the thing is, if you have ego, if you are body conscious and you have defects, then those defects manifest themselves in these kinds of actions. So when somebody is talking about somebody's shortcomings or somebody is defaming somebody, then these are actions which show that this soul has a lot of defects, and this is why they are looking at others' defects. So Baba says, those who have ego think that everybody else is bad and only I am good. But their actions talk otherwise. And actions speak louder than words. And when you start speaking ill of somebody, when you start defaming somebody, then those actions reflect that there is a lot of work that one needs to do inside. Otherwise, you wouldn't do these kind of actions which are against Srimad. So Baba says this is how ego works. Ego will tell you only you are good and all others are bad. And ego will also tell you that you have the right to put everybody down, you have the right to defame people, you have the right to, look at others' defects. So just take a simple example. Have you seen that sometimes parents, teachers, they take the privilege of insulting children before others? Yes, so they would just, talk ill about their own child or their own student in front of a whole class, or they would just, insult them or defame them. and talk ill about them in front of others. And what gives them that right? The right, that right is given by ego. So ego makes you so self-centered, and ego makes you so entitled. The one aspect of ego is the sense of entitlement, and you feel so entitled that you think that you have the right to speak ill about somebody, you have the right to soil somebody's image, you have the right to defame somebody. But all this entitled behavior, this shows that there is a lot of defect inside you. And it is very important that we do subtle checking of our own selves, because sometimes um, Baba asks us to check and change ourselves, and we do that. It's not that we don't do that. We check ourselves, we change ourselves, but we don't do subtle checking. We do very ego based checking. So let me give you an example of ego based checking vis-a-vis subtle checking. So there's this one mata, and she was beating up her child badly. And then I asked her, "Why are you beating him up?" So she said, "It's for his own good that I'm beating him up." So I said, "But Baba has asked us that you do not raise your hand over the child. You can punish them in other ways, like you take away their facilities or something, but don't raise your hand. That's violence." So then she said, "But you see, as a mother, you have to do that." So you see, and when she submits her chart in the night, she wouldn't enter that as giving sorrow, or she wouldn't enter that as an aspect of anger, because when you do ego based checking, then you dismiss all those actions in the day which you think you are entitled to because of your role, your position, or who you are, and you literally forget the law of karma, that the law of karma doesn't consider what role you are in, what position you are in. The law of karma is equal for every soul. So whatever position you are in, whatever conditions you are in, if you are going against Srimad, if you are defaming somebody, looking at somebody's defects, or listening to somebody's defamation, these are pap karma, and they will be counted as pap karma. But ego makes you very unaware of your own defects, and the biggest defect you have is you have a lot of ego and a sense of entitlement, that you are entitled to do all these wrong karma in under the guise that you are doing it because of your position or because of your responsibility. So Baba says that you have to be very careful about this one. Be very careful about checking your own ego in a very subtle way and removing your own defects, and never look at anybody's defects, never look at anybody's shortcomings, because Baba says you look at what you can change. Can you change anybody's weaknesses by looking at them? No. You can change everybody's weaknesses by yourself being powerful. And a very good example that Baba gives us today is that when you go to a temple, then there is a deity in the temple, and that deity is not even a live deity. That is the image of a deity. But even in the image of the deity, there is the attraction of purity. And because of that attraction of purity, when the soul goes in front of the deity, then they become aware that I am vicious, and they speak with their own mouth. They say that you are great and I am vicious. But when they come out of the temple, they don't accept that. But in front of the deity, they realize that. So Baba says that when you want somebody to realize their defects, then you become like this deity. And when you have these divine virtues, when you have this power of purity, power of love within you, when you have the spiritual powers within you, then you become like a mirror. And anybody who comes in front of the mirror can see their face. And when you become like this, then you don't have to point out anybody's defects. When they come in front of you, they will realize this is my defect. And if you look at dadis, so dadis had this power. And when somebody went to dadi, they would go with, maybe, I have a problem with somebody. And then I go to dadi. And when I go to dadi, I have the intention with which I have gone is, I want to talk about this other person and point out the defects of this other person to dadi. But when you go before dadi, what happened is, you would completely start seeing what are the defects in you, and it would feel so wrong at that point of time to be discussing other people's defects, and the purpose with which you went would be lost, and you would just keep thinking about, okay, these are my defects and I cannot speak like this before dadi, and I have to change this within myself. So that is how you actually relieve somebody of their defects, by being this image of purity. This image of purity which works like a pure mirror, in which everybody is able to see their face properly and see how virtuous or vicious they are, and then they are self-motivated to change them. And Baba says that in this one birth, we have to change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan. And it's not a small journey. So how will I change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan? Will I change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan by looking at other people's defects and discussing them? Or will I change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan if I look at my defects and take light and might from Baba and change them? So Baba says, maintain a brotherly drishti with everyone, have acceptance for each one. Do not look at their defects, look at their good points, look at their virtues, and for yourself, go within, check yourself properly, and with checking, change also. And how do you change? In silence, connect with Baba, take power and virtues from Baba, which will fill those gaps which are there within you, in which the defects lie. So when those gaps of virtues and powers are filled, then there are no gaps which hold those defects, so those defects will also go away. So this is Baba's teaching for today. Om Shanti.